Break the board sports. It's your boy RJ Cash breaking down the college football playoff. Already got our show out on Alabama, Oklahoma. Check that out. I love that game. Now, Saturday, we got two teams full of speed. Miami Hurricanes will travel to College Station to take on the 12th man in Texas A&M. You got Marcel Reed, Carson Beck, bunch of speed on the outside, and two defenses that can get after it. This one's going to be a good one. Let's hop into the handicap. Click that like, hit subscribe. If you've never joined us before, all we do is break down trend stats and information to help you with your own handicap. This whole thing is designed to help you become a better handicapper and give you the stats, trends, and information that you need to get there with all your bets. Break the board sports, where we help you become a better handicapper here today. So let's hop right into it. Now, right now, as things set, you got Texas A&M laying 3. In some spots, there's 3.5. So again, very important to have multiple betting outlets. This line kind of keeps moving around a little bit. 3.5. We'll go with the 3.5. Your total 50.5, which is a little shocking. On that 50.5 total, 62% of bets is equaling 41% of the handle. So higher ticket count, lower dollar amount. Obviously, I say this and I'll say it ad nauseum. Doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, whatever. Public loves overs. They absolutely love them. Showing up here, and I think as we get closer to game time, it's Wednesday. By the time we get closer to Saturday, this thing, I think you're going to see it spike up a little bit for you under bettors. So just hold serve. More over tickets are coming. 38% of ticket count, equaling 59% of the handle, which I think a lot of sharps will be on, is to the under. Now, let's hop into the spread. 3.5, 67% of the tickets on the Aggies of A&M is equaling 21% of the handle. 33% of ticket count, equaling 79% of the handle on the Miami Hurricanes. So definitely a clear distinction there as far as A&M and Miami. Now, A&M's going to get a lot of public love, okay? Undefeated all year, then they roll into Texas, lose that one. They got some good wins. We'll hop into that in a second. But let's look at these offenses and defenses from a points per game perspective on the road and at home. So on the road, Miami has the 31st ranked scoring offense in the country, 30 points per game. 30 points per game. Now, Texas A&M, their offense at home is 40th in the country as far as home scoring offense, 35.14. So Texas A&M averaging 5 points more a game at home than Miami is on the road. Defensively, on the road, this Miami Hurricanes defense travels 18 points per game, good for 14th in the nation, 18 points per game. Texas A&M at home, their defense is legit too. They're giving up 16 points per game, 28th best defense at home. So another net 2 there for A&M. And so when you net it all out, A&M has a 7-point advantage on the scoring side of things. Now, when you look at some other things, passing yards per game, Miami's defense giving up 259, A&M throwing for 271. Now, look, we know Marcel Reed, he's got some weapons there, man. I mean, he's got some burners there on the outside. Miami's going to have their hands full with those. Miami, they're throwing for 282. But here's the big thing, that A&M defense only giving up 167 yards in the air. Really, really key. It's going to be important for Miami to be able to establish the run so they can get play action going with Carson Beck. The big thing is, and we'll talk about it ad nauseum really, is Mario Cristobal is the X factor here. He is the guy that could take this whole thing for Miami. Now, talent for talent, you can agree or disagree, but it's just a fact. Miami and Texas A&M, same amount of talent, right? Now, I could make the argument Carson Beck's been a little bit overrated. I think Marcel Reed's a little bit better. But this Miami team is just as good as this A&M team, okay, on paper. This is on paper. But Mario Cristobal, is he going to make the calls necessary to be able to get Miami across the finish line? I think this is going to be a really tight game, especially in the first half. Now, Miami, they have played to the under 6 of their last 9 games, and against SEC opponents, Miami has played to the under 7 of their last 10. Here's where the problems start to arise. As a dog, 8 of the last 9 have went over. They're also 1-8 against the spread their last 9 games in the month of December. So when it gets late in the year, Miami just has not performed under Mario Cristobal. Now, a couple good stats for Miami. They're 8-3 straight up their last 11 on the road. That's very good. 5-1 straight up their last 6, though I don't really think they've played a whole lot of people. A&M, again, we talked about lights out, 11-1 their last 12. They have a 7-game win streak at home. They're 6-1 ATS against the ACC. They're 4-2 straight up their last 6 in the month of December. However, there's 2 big stats that really are alarming, and I think you got to look at them and muddle through them. Texas A&M is just 5-12 against the spread their last 7, and as a favorite, Texas A&M is just 4-11 ATS. I'm going to say that again. Last 15 games as a favorite, Texas A&M just 4-11 ATS. 5-12 ATS are their last 17. That's huge, huge issues. I'll point to another thing. Last 10 games as a home favorite. A&M 9-1 straight up. They won 9 straight as a home favorite. That's great. But they're 4-6 ATS as a home favorite, right? Now, Miami, I'm not saying they're no bargain as a road dog, 4-6 straight up, but they do have a winning record ATS 6-4. Miami comes in 10-2. A&M comes in 11-1. A&M, we talked about, has not been good ATS. 5-7 as to where Miami's 7-5. Miami's 3-1 straight up on the road. We talked about A&M, that 7-game win streak that they have. Now, these 2 teams, rewind the clock, just played back in 2022 and 2023. 2022, the game was in A&M. A&M won that game 17-9. 2023, just 2 years ago, this game was in Miami. I can make the argument, was this Miami team better? I think it was. 48-33, they beat Texas A&M. Now, A&M, their path to get here. We talked about last time out, they lost to Texas 27-17. Let's go down through the resume of A&M. Beat Sanford, okay, whatever. South Carolina, not a very good team, beat them by 1. Mizzou, went to Mizzou, won by 21. Went to LSU, won by 24. Went to Arkansas, won by 3. Beat Florida by 17. Beat Mississippi State. Beat Auburn 16-10. Had that win against Notre Dame, 41-40, the 4th and 17 PI call. But when I look down through A&M's schedule, there's something very glaring here. Other than the Notre Dame win, again, on a 4th and 17 bogus PI call, and a redshirt freshman making his second start, Texas is the only game of substance they've played. There's no Georgia on this schedule. Heck, there's not even a Tennessee. There's no Alabama on this schedule. There's no Oklahoma on this schedule. They haven't played anybody but Texas, and I'll give them the Notre Dame win, even though it was a bogus win. And there's really no way to argue about it. I'm not saying A&M isn't good. I'm just saying at one time they were ranked 3rd in the country, and they ain't the 3rd best team in the country, okay? So I just want to look at that. Now, on the flip side, Miami blows out Pitt, blows out Virginia Tech, blows out NC State, blows out Syracuse, had that horrible loss at SMU, blows out Stanford, had the horrible loss to Louisville, beat Florida State, blew out Florida, blew out South Florida, beat Notre Dame. So I'm not saying Miami by any means is, the creme de la creme. I'm just saying I think the game, the line, a lot of people, I'm hearing a lot of chatter about A&M's just going to run hog wild on them. I just don't know if that's the case, guys. I think when you look at them again, it's apples to apples. These teams are so similar when you dive into the handicap. Now, let's talk about the total, right? Because we talked about these defenses, 18 points per game, Miami, 16 points per game, Texas A&M. I know everybody's expecting fireworks, but especially Mario Cristobal, going to turn back to him. Old offensive lineman, Miami is going to try to keep that A&M offense off the field. If A&M wins. You can tell how this game's going to go from the time of possession. If A&M has 10 minutes, 12 minutes more than Miami, this game is Dunsey. A&M's winning it by 10 to 14 points, right? Miami cannot get in a shootout with A&M. They got to slow this thing down. And I think Mario Cristobal, being an old lineman, he's going to get this game in the trenches. The way Miami stays in this game is to pull A&M down into the swamp. Now, first half game total under, right? First half under 25 and a half, some 24 and a halves. Miami has hit that 11 of the last 13 games. I'll say that again. Miami, games they've played in, the game total under has cashed 11 of the last 13 games, right? Very, very important for that. When I look over their first half under at FanDuel is 26 and a half. Now it's juiced minus $1.38, but I think that's a huge, huge advantage here. 11 of the last 13 have went under the total in the first half Miami's played in. If you've been betting that, you're up 8.7 units, a 58% return on your investment. Now, A&M, they've played to the over 9 of their last 13, put you up 4.6 units, a 32% return on your investment. We talk about that first half under for Miami. Check this out. Game total under, right? Game total under, team total under for A&M has went under the total 5 of their last 6 at home, put you up 3.9 units, 57% ROI. So game total under. When I look at this, right, I think there's a couple different ways you can go with your bets, but there's some glaring ones that I think you just got to fire on. First of all, you got to fire on Miami plus 3.5. Listen, when you have a 7-10 matchup and you dive into the handicap like we just did, and they're dead even pretty much, and you got two good quarterbacks. Now, one can run. Reed can really hurt you with his legs. You got to take the points here. I like Miami plus 3.5. I also like this thing is setting at 50 and a half. If you can find a 51 out there, I think you're in business with that. Again, I know when people look at this with the naked eye, they're just going to think these two teams are going to erupt and throw up a ton of points on the board. I don't necessarily see it that way. I see a very methodical under game happening, but Miami plus 3.5 is a play here. College football, I do not like teasers, right? However, college playoff is different. College playoff has more of an NFL feel. NFL is great for teasers. So, with that being said, when you look into it, your 10.3 team teasers. Yes, your 10.3 team teasers. I think there's some ways you can go here, and I'm going to give you one that I like. The first one is going to be, let's go with Alabama minus or plus 8.5, right? So they're minus 1.5. You're flipping them. Alabama plus 8.5 with Miami plus 13.5 with Ole Miss minus 7.5. I like that one. I think you can get there to the window on that one. And also Miami plus 3.5 is the way I'm going to go. I also think first half under 26.5. If you find a 27, I think you got to fire on the under first half on that as well. Miami has played to that. I expect them to be up and jacked up for this game. Hurricanes plus 3.5. Click that like, hit subscribe. RJ Cash, Break the Board Sports, where we give you stats, trends, information to help you become a better handicapper. Whether you fade or follow, I hope you win your bet. God bless and happy handicapping.